Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Yosh here, and today I'm actually going to be talking about the new photo mode that got added to the last update 1.07 in Driveclub that we actually got early this morning at about 3 o'clock this morning Pacific time. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm here and I'm at Canada and I'm driving the Mercedes. This is the SLS. Beautiful car. Love this car. Super awesome. So what I'm going to go ahead and talk to you just about the photo mode, how to use it, how to work it, basically some of the settings and stuff like that for some of you that were wondering about the photo mode and kind of going into a more in-depth look at the photo mode. Okay, so what you want to do is you start a race or anything like that, any kind of race, it doesn't matter. And the first thing you're going to want to do is hit right on your touchpad, the actual, like the right side of it. And once you hit that, you'll actually enter in the photo mode. So let's go ahead and get to a corner here. Okay. All right. So here we go. Ooh, caught some flames. All right. So I went ahead and I hit the touchpad, like I said, just the right side of the touchpad. And then this is going to go ahead and bring you guys into the photo mode. Now, in the photo mode here, you're actually, the first kind of camera that you're brought into is just like a normal game camera that you can, just like it says there, gameplay cameras that you can cycle through. And to cycle through those different cameras, you just tap R1 on your controller and you could enter into the different gameplay cameras, and then you can kind of move around a little bit from left to right and move around in those different cameras from in-car to the exterior, third person, anything like that. What I actually want to show you too is the more extensive photo mode that I really use a lot. So what you want to do is obviously you see all the different buttons and information here on the screen to hide the UI. You can exit the image processing, reset your controls. And then the cycle the camera. Now, where it says camera type up and down on the D-pad, go ahead and press that either up or down. It doesn't matter. So you have the two different ones. There's this one here, which is your free camera, like a free roam camera. You can take control of it, and you can move this camera all around. You can move it backwards, forward, up, down. It's just a fully free camera that you can use to take some amazing pictures in this game, because this game is stupid gorgeous, and the best thing to do in a racing game is to get those beautiful pictures and share them with your friends or post them online, anything like that. So, all right, so all the information on the side, you can see zoom in, R2. Your L2 and R2 triggers are going to be to zoom in and out. So if you want to step back a little bit, you can kind of zoom in, and get a picture like that. Or if you want to really zoom out and you want to get closer, kind of like that, or get more of like a wide angle kind of shot, something like that. You kind of zoom in or zoom out and get real close and get that effect. Also too, L1 and R1 is going to be up and down. Simple, just use that to strafe up and down with your camera if you want to get a higher angle, a higher vantage point, or if you want to get something really low to the ground and get something like that. Also too, you can also so right there where it says roll left and right on the touchpad, if you just swipe right or you actually swipe left on your touchpad, you can actually roll the camera and get a different angle like that as well. So that's kind of cool how they did that, kind of giving us a way to use the touchpad in a sense, so it's not just there. So that's kind of cool. And then of course with your right analog stick and the left analog stick, you can strafe and move left and right and forward with your left analog stick and right to look around and up and down, stuff like that. Cool. Now the other thing that a lot of people like doing is of course adding a bunch of effects and doing a lot of the cool things with your photos. So as a photographer myself, I really enjoy doing that. So that's a really cool thing that I actually am really enjoying this photo mode. So what you're going to do is, right there it says image processing. So you're going to go ahead and hit square. And once you hit square, it's going to bring up a lot of different, well, at least some customizing functions that you could do actually. So the first one is your aperture level. You have your exposure compensation, you have your focal distance, shutter speed, screen filters, your filter intensity, you got film grain, you got a frame effect, your bokeh shapes, vehicle tracking, and then your face-off player tags, markers, stuff like that that you can actually turn on and off if you want that stuff off. So like as you can see here, there's a face-off up there. So if I turn it on, you'll actually be able to see the face-off, but I don't want that on. So first thing, like I said, we're kind of going in depth. So aperture. So what is the aperture really doing to your image, or what is it doing to your photo? So aperture, what's that? So what's wow? I can't even talk. Blah blah blah. So that basically is going to be changing what is in focus and what is not in focus. I'm gonna try and keep everything a little simplistic so I don't lose anybody. So with a higher f-stop number, you're actually getting everything that you see in focus. It's a wide range of a depth of field, and then if you make it lower, you're actually making what's in focus, you're getting a more shallow depth of field, so less in your image is going to be in focus. Now when I do turn that down, so now we're at f4, you know, but normally we want to make the background blurry. You know, we don't want to make the front blurry. We don't want the car to blurry. We want the car to be in focus. So what we want to do is, for that, actually I'll explain that in a minute. Well, I'll explain in a minute, but anyway, so that's your f-stop. Higher, everything's in focus. Lower, less depth of field, and then you could blur that background out. Less stuff is going to be in focus for you, so you can get that nice blur, that nice bokeh in the background, or however you guys want to pronounce it. Bokeh, bokeh. I know, whatever. You know, there's a lot of tomato. So anyway, exposure compensation. Obviously, you up your exposure, your EV. So higher, it's going to be brighter. Lower, it's going to be darker. So I'm actually going to go a little bit bright. It looks kind of, I don't know why, but I always had a thing for like overexposed images. I don't know why. So, but anyway, personal preference. So you can measure that, self-explanatory. Your focal distance. Now, this is one of the things a lot of people were actually getting a little confused about, is they were jumping right into here, trying to mess with some stuff, and they, you know, were like, man, I really want that background to be blurry, and it's not blurry. They kept saying, oh, the car is blurry, but the background isn't. What, you know, normally on like Gran Turismo or maybe some other racing games, you would just hover over it. It would have the little picture, the little autofocus symbol. You would tap square or X or whatever, something like that, and it would focus for you, do an automatic focus. Well, in here, you're actually going to choose what you want in focus, so it's a little bit more complex. So what you're going to do is, you see that little green line that's actually on the screen? So if I move that around, so like right now, that green line is in the background. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that's saying that I want that area where that's focused to be in focus. So if we want to make the car in focus, so we need to adjust the slider and just pay attention to that green line. So let's hover it right over the back end of the car. So now that you see that I hovered it over the back end of the car, hopefully you guys can see now that that is in focus. So now the background should be out of focus because I changed my focal distance. So the area that I want in focus. If you want to get more of a blurry background, something like that, you could change your aperture level, and that will make it increasingly blurry. 1.2. That's insane. So the amount of what's in focus is super small. Your depth of field is going to be really shallow. So like as you can see, the rear tail light, the rear rim is in focus, but as soon as you start going to the mirror, anything like that, it's already blown out. It's out of focus. So some people might like that. I'm gonna keep it a little bit higher, just because I kind of really want the car to look really sharp, really clean, a little bit higher actually. So you know, I'll do like f8. Normally that's a pretty. So we'll stick at f8. So anyway, don't want to touch much. So shutter speed. Now a lot of you people want to get those action shots, or those shots that you get that motion blur and stuff like that. So obviously the higher your shutter speed is, the more that the camera in a sense would be freezing your action. So what you want to do is you want to lower your shutter speed to something like 1/60th of a second. So you see the difference there? We're getting motion, we're capturing the motion, and you're going to get that real nice motion blur that's going to make that picture come to life more, really look, you know, as if you're flying through that corner. So just remember, the higher the number of your shutter speed, will freeze more, less action, and the lower the shutter speed will give you more of a motion blur, more action, more of a blur effect in a sense. So okay, then they give you these screen filters, which are cool, you know, kind of like an IG or anything, your typical photo filters, anything like that. So you got off, action, bleach, blockbuster, cold, cross processing, Driveclub, their Driveclub trademark, gray, ink, last gen, night vision, psychedelic, retro, saturated, trailer, warm, a lot of different screen filters there that you guys can play with and kind of go through. Also too, you can change the intensity of your filter, so you know, lower the intensity of that filter if you just want a little bit of an effect, and then if you actually want to super overboard it and way go increase with that effect, you can do that as well. They also have film grain that you can play with, and you can add some grain into your pictures, maybe if you want to give it a little bit of a noise or just a little bit more of a rougher look, a real sharp look. You can kind of play with that. I don't personally like it, but that's up to you guys. So frame, they also gave you some effects on the frames in here, just a couple. So like you have your cinematic borders kind of thing you would normally see on your movies and stuff like that. A little Driveclub frame on there, a couple little stripes, and then a nice little vignette frame on there. Kind of cool. I actually use that one quite a bit. And then the bokeh shapes, like I said, that's the shapes of the blur in the background. I don't really want to go in depth on that, but just these little shapes that you would see, whatever is not in focus. I didn't really notice too much of changing those that really like made a huge effect. I mean, they got one in here that says like pumpkin. I didn't really see any like pumpkin patches just coming out of me or anything like that. So yeah, I would just keep it on circle. I don't think you're really going to see anything too huge on that. I mean, maybe if you really paid big enough attention, but for me, I just left it on circle. Vehicle tracking, if you want the focus to track your car, you can kind of play with that and get some different effects too. And then like if it's off, I mean, your car is going to be completely blown out. It's not tracking your car whatsoever. So I like having it on attached just so that my car's in focus. And then like I had told you earlier about the player tags being on and off. So if you want to put those on, you can have those on and the names above the cars and stuff like that if you're a multiplayer and you want to show their names. So that's pretty much about it, and you guys can play with those, a lot of different effects there. Sorry, before we end this, so if you want to take a picture, obviously you don't see like take picture or anything like that on the screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to hide your UI, just hit X and hide your UI and everything. So now all you're going to do is what I do. Don't worry about holding like tapping share. So if you just easily hold down share, you will actually be able to save a picture automatically, and then you can go to your Driveclub in the gallery on your picture gallery or whatnot, and you can get your picture from there, and then you can share it to Facebook or anything like that. So let me see, I'm trying to think of anything else here, guys. Also, when you're moving around, you do have to be in this mode right here. You do have to be in this kind of camera type. If I go to the image processing where all this stuff is and I try to move around the camera or anything like that, it won't let me. So you got to make sure that you hit camera again and get out of that mode, and then you can move around and you can switch it up. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of the new photo mode with the update 1.07 for Driveclub for the PlayStation 4, and I hope you guys are enjoying the game. I know the game is a little buggy, the multiplayer is still being fixed, but this is a huge thing for Driveclub. I really enjoy this with the game pretty. It's awesome. I hope you guys post some pictures that own Driveclub in the comments below, and I would love to see any kind of pictures or anything like that, or links to pictures. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in.